For the last 20 years, scientists and politicians alike have been debating whether or not the melting of the polar ice caps was due to a natural cycle or global warming. Early on, many politicians argued that there was no need to deal with carbon emissions and the depletion of the ozone layer, because global warming was a figment of our imaginations. They used studies that showed that the Earth was simply following a very long weather patterning. However, as evidence mounted, the politicians that were slow in bringing forth laws and legislation that would eliminate or at least reduce emissions could no longer ignore the science. The melting of the polar ice caps is a serious and complex issue that involves the world's ecosystems, economies, and our ways of life. The polar ice caps are located in the Arctic and Antarctic regions of the Earth. An ice cap is a thick layer of ice and snow that covers less than 50,000 square kilometers. Once the size of the ice is more than 50,000 kilometers, it is considered an ice sheet. The size of these ice caps are constantly changing due to the fluctuating change in global temperature. Ice caps form when snow gathers over time and melts. The melted snow then solidifies and compresses into a thick layer of ice. The snow continues to build, melt, and turn to ice, creating an ice cap. The polar ice caps play a large role in global weather conditions. The melting of the ice is actually causing further warming of the Earth. This is because of something called the albedo effect. The albedo effect is the radiation from the sun reflected off the Earth. The polar ice has a significantly higher albedo number than the black ocean water around it. This means it reflects the radiation better than the surrounding water. In fact, the ice reflects 90% of and absorbs 10% of the UV radiation, while the ocean water reflects 10% and absorbs 90%. Less ocean ice and more water results in a warmer global temperature and further loss of ice. In the past few years, sea ice has reached an all-time low. In the summer of 2007, large amounts of warm air flooded into the Arctic, causing a loss of 39% total Arctic sea ice. This is double that of the previous year. Wonderground.com stated that in 1 year, as much ice was lost as in the previous 28 years combined. 2011 set the record for the lowest amount of sea ice at 27,000 square feet, below the previous record from 2007. Although the ice caps are located in the unpopulated Arctic regions, they play a monumental role in regulating the world's temperature. The melting of the ice caps is a global issue because if a significant amount of the Arctic's ice melts, it will allow a significant amount of the sun's radiation to reach the Earth, resulting in dramatic warming. This issue has many stakeholders, from politicians to scientists. There are varying beliefs on the melting of these ice caps, sending a contradictory message for the average citizen. Many scientists concerned about global warming use the melting ice caps as evidence of the greenhouse effect. A large amount of politicians are opposed to this idea, saying the melting of the ice is a natural cycle that has nothing to do with the greenhouse effect. This political agenda is powered by sheer economics. To complicate matters, the loss of ice means easier access to oil and natural gas on the ocean floor. According to the Bloomberg News, a geological survey estimates 30% of the world's undiscovered natural gas and 13% of the undiscovered oil awaits under the frigid Arctic waters. The countries that are claiming stakes in the Arctic include the United States, Canada, Russia, Finland, Denmark, Sweden, Norway, and Iceland. A variety of animals are directly affected by the melting of the ice caps. The polar bear lives directly on the ice, which is why global warming poses such a threat to its well-being. The polar bear hunts during the fall and winter months while eating close to nothing during the summer. Its main prey are the seals that live in the Arctic Ocean. The melting of the ice is cutting the hunting season down, leaving the polar bears with less food to last through the summer. According to the National Wildlife Federation, the polar bear weight is dropped by 15% from the previous average. The melting of the ice caps is a crisis and we need to take action. The question is, what can we do? In fact, there's a lot we can do to make a difference. Instead of driving, you can walk or take public transit, but of course this is old news. One of the major contributors to global warming is the amount of conventional fuels such as coal and oil that are being burned to generate energy. The majority of this energy is being used every day in our homes for the lights and heating. Unfortunately, houses have been built generally the same way for the past 100 years. Worse yet, the average size of North Americans' house has gone up. This only means more power and energy used. One way to cut back on your family's wattage is to invest in LED light bulbs. According to www.zzm13.com, LEDs are 85% more efficient than the traditional incandescent light bulb. These little changes add up to a big difference. As individuals, we all have a responsibility. People's actions have big effects on issues that may physically exist on the other side of the world. We all live in a global world where everyone is connected. We need to learn to work together and create a better future.